We wanted to make a meaningful impact on the design community from not only just doing something glamorous, but we wanted to create something, a platform where people had a lot more access. So historically with shows, they're extremely expensive. So only the large manufacturers can really partake. It becomes exclusionary to the small young designers who only have a sort of a smaller budget to work with. And also, even the medium-sized designers have only so much budget, so they can't really show what they can do. So it's been a really interesting platform for us to address those sort of industry challenges.
One of the most exciting features in this exhibition has been the collaborations. And I think this is just the beginning. I think people are understanding what collaboration means. They learn what their bedroom could be like or their kitchen can be like, and not just an item individually.
Mpho is living her dream as an established interior designer. A couple of years ago, though, she was a process engineer in the mining industry. We asked Mpho to share some of the challenges facing interior designers in South Africa and a bit of her journey as an entrepreneur.
I quit my job a couple of years ago, went back to school, and I studied interior design, but I always knew that I wanted to do furniture design, and this is our initial range. So it's based on, I love ethnic patterns, and I love relating 2D things to 3D things. So I wanted to create something inspired by Africa, and that's what this initial range is inspired by. What I've found, especially as a startup, I launched the range, or I launched the company last year in September at Hello Ambassador, and it's very difficult as a newcomer. Obviously, first of all, as a newcomer, you already feel like, oh my gosh, is my stuff good enough? Are people going to like it? And then another thing is that who's going to manufacture these things that I'm coming up with? So luckily, I did engineering. So the way I design is I design like an engineer. So I always think about how is this thing going to be made and things like that. And we used to have an off-site company that we use, but now we've started manufacturing in-house. My biggest passion is keeping everything in-house, owning your processes. So next thing will be what timber do we use, and start investigating eco-timbers. Do we make those eco-timbers in South Africa? Where can we source our things locally? Where can we source our fabrics locally? Where can we make our own? So ultimately, the final product would be made here from beginning to end. So from up here, it would be manufactured in Africa. It would have African materials with African people working on it, and it would have that life cycle,
As you've just seen and heard, this exhibition features furniture designed by mainly South African interior decorators. Now, you could end up spending a little fortune at an exhibition like this, but even if you haven't budgeted for designer furniture, you could walk away with some really great ideas for your dream home. Of course, the first step is to invest in that dream home that would justify spending a little fortune on designer furniture that comes with little stories attached to it. So here's some advice for first-time home buyers. A slowdown in the economy always affects the housing market. Usually, price growth slows, making it easier for some to buy.
Completely. It is very pockets in Johannesburg. You have pockets. You have it at the coast. We've all been reading how the coast is booming and everything's happening, and you got foreign investors and everything is hot, going very fast at the coast, which is fine. Regional areas are quite different. Johannesburg in particular, and then Northcliffe within Johannesburg are very particular. So we don't necessarily, there's a lot of stock on the market, but that gives you as a buyer quite a plethora, quite a number of choices that you have in buying units.
However, property is not a short-term investment, and those who believe they are going to make a quick profit after a short period will have to re-evaluate their decision to buy. Buying a home is an expensive exercise and includes all sorts of costs, including transfer fees and conveyancing costs.
As a first-time buyer, the first advice, the best advice I can give them, be aware of your homeowner's cost. A 1 million bond is going to cost you 10,000. So if you rent it out for 7,000, 8,000, plus your cost, you're looking at 3,000 to 4,000 of cost that you will be having to put in extra. Don't forget, we also have your rates. You also have your extra and additional costs that come above your bond. So a lot of people they might overextend themselves initially getting into a property and then realize, oops, there actually comes more to it cost-wise on a monthly basis than I thought. So you rather not push yourself to the limit cost-wise, have a little bit of flex, get the property, see what actually after 1 year worth of renting it out and of cost, where do you stand, and then you take a decision going forward.
Here are some of the current trends around the property market in and around Johannesburg.
Well, Johannesburg has always been the, as we know, economic hub of sub-Saharan Africa, and consequently the rentals are always in high demand in this area. People are attracted to the area primarily for jobs and work, and very often they would prefer to rent initially before they commit to buying. That's the one reason. And the other reason is very often they're not South African and they need to familiarize themselves with the areas, prices in the area, and in order to raise bonds, which take time.